the tastiest time of year. 15 crazy food creations went head-to-head in this year's State Fair of Texas Big Tex Choice Awards, and our Madison Sawyer was a celebrity judge who helped decide those winners. Photojournalist Alexis Ramirez was there to capture it all.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to the 2026 Big Tex Choice Awards Fair Food Competition.
Howdy folks, I'm Carissa Condianis, Senior Vice President of Public Relations for the State Fair of Texas. So we have nearly 30 celebrity judges today, mixed up of traditional media and creators from across the state of Texas that are going to decide what the top new foods are at this year's State Fair of Texas.
This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about having an array of flavors explosion in your mouth.
That's the goal. The more people we have tasting and judging our items today, the better really it'll be at the end of the day, because we have more than 2 million people who come through the gates of Fair Park.
So this is the Golden Crunch Melt.
So good.
When you come out to the fair, your fair day is helping Texans every day, whether it's the small businesses that are operating throughout the fair. And again, it's a very diverse mix of business owners who are out here to show all the cultures that are in Texas and all the cultural foods that you can enjoy at the fair.
Oh yeah. That's amazing.
Okay, please just bury me in this. This is the best thing I think I've ever eaten. Definitely need like a second, third, maybe a fourth bite just to confirm.
We have incredible items from just elevating staples that you may eat in your daily life.
The Texas two-step tacos have a cheese-stuffed jalapeno with pineapple sausage.
To taking something that you eat in your daily life and completely turning it on its head.
Ooh, oh my God. Look at that.
And creating something incredibly zany for the state fair.
This is huge. It's almost like a reinventation of the corny dog, which who thought could happen, right? So we just wanted to give the average fairgoer an above average experience.
So it's going to be interesting today to see what people really gravitate towards and where we land at the end of today.
Well, the winners of the Big Tex Choice Awards are in. For Best Taste Savory, we've got the Burger Chop Tater Tacos. For Best Taste Sweet, it's Fletcher's Chocolate Corny Dogs. And Best Taste Sipper is a Tropical Cocoa Fresca. For the most creative, it is the Berry Me and Matcha. That sounds really good. Well, in this morning's Making Ends Meet, we are past the half-year mark. And as we roll towards the end of 2026, it's an opportunity to do a mid-year review of your finances. So Mark Stieber with Jackson Hewitt Tax Service walks us through some potential opportunities to stretch your dollars and make them work for you. He recommends taking a pay stub from around June 30th, find the year-to-date wages, and multiply that number by 2 to get a potentially full year's wages. Do the same thing for interest or dividends or capital gains, and then plug in last year's standard deduction if that's what you use to calculate a full year projected taxable income. Turn around and do the same thing for federal withholding, and you should get a pretty good idea of what your tax projection should be. From there, you have a few months to determine next steps, whether to lower what you're withholding or putting more money in to make the bite at tax time a little less painful.
After December 31st, there's not a whole lot you can do retroactive. But right now, in the summer, you've got several months left on which to get the result that you want. But you need to take action. You need to take the data, and you need to get this done, even if you use a pro, because it won't be automatic and it won't be luck, come tax day. You will have taken, your information and made something actionable to get the result you want.
Stieber says to take note of life changes too. For example, starting a side hustle or taking care of your dependent parents or sending someone in your family off to higher education like college can have a huge impact on your tax return as well. Well, it's time for us to check in with the desk again now. So let's get over to assignment editor Danica Hill, who's in our newsroom for us this morning. Danica, residents in another North Texas city are fighting back against the presence of more flock cameras in that area. What can you tell us about this morning?
Yeah, that is right. So this has become a nationwide debate. People trying to figure out what's the necessity of having these flock cameras. And now it has made its way to the city of Carrollton. And it was a topic brought up at the city council meeting last night. So I was able to do a little bit of digging this morning, and I found out that over the last 3 years, the city of Carrollton has signed 3 separate contracts with Flock Safety. Now, that is the company that provides the cameras and the surveillance software. Now, one of those contracts will be up for renewal consideration next month, and that seems to be what's sparking the debate right now. It wasn't on the agenda last night, at least from what I could find, but during the public comment portion of the meeting, that was the only topic brought up. People spoke out on both sides.
The chief and his officers must continue the strong program to eliminate misuse and have the strongest of consequences. We need to sustain the flock camera program.
There's no justification, really, for it to be in those areas. So I encourage you to at least pause what you're doing. I'm certainly against the flock drones.
Now, one of the concerns that I heard from residents last night was about transparency and what's happening with the data. So I was able to go to Carrollton PD's website, and they have a drop-down menu that specifically talks about their transparency when it comes to flock cameras. They also have a link on their website that goes to the flock transparency portal. And here is where you can see just how many cameras are in the city of Carrollton, how long they keep that data, and just how many alerts were made as a result of these flock cameras. So I am staying on top of this story this morning. I am going to reach out to some local leaders in the area to try and see what their response is to some of these concerns, and also what happens next with this latest contract coming up. So that's what we're looking at here at the assignment desk.
Okay, Danica, very interesting. Thank you so much for digging into that for us. Carmelo Anthony will be back in court this morning, and this comes now after 2 months. A jury found him guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet and sentenced him to 35 years in prison. Our Trevor Sohaki joins us live this morning at the Collin County Courthouse in McKinney. And Trevor, this week's hearings are all a part of Anthony's appeal process.
Yeah, Carmen, Carmelo Anthony and his legal team have hearings both today and tomorrow at the Collin County Courthouse right behind me. Now, today, his legal team is expected to argue that Anthony deserves a new trial for his appeal and a new judge for his appeal. Tomorrow, they're expected to argue Anthony deserves a new trial because of a controversial agreement between the defense and prosecution not to allow the jury to hear evidence about Anthony or Metcalf's backgrounds. A South Texas judge will oversee today's recusal hearing. After that, either the original judge, John Roach, or a new judge will hear arguments on Thursday for a new trial. Now, today's hearing begins at 9 a.m. We will have a reporter inside and outside the courthouse, and we'll bring you the very latest both today and tomorrow. Live in McKinney, Trevor Sohaki, CBS News, Texas.
Okay, Trevor, thank you for staying on top of the trial for us. We appreciate it. We do have some new insight this morning on how the state is handling a surge of abuse allegations in public schools and statewide. So you've heard of many here in North Texas, and in response, the Department of Justice launched Project Safe Schools. So Lacey Beasley is our lead education reporter here this morning. Lacey, the state is handling a surge of these abuse allegations. Tell us what you're learning about this, though.
Hey, good morning, Carmen. Well, Levi Fuller is less than 6 months into his new role at the Texas Education Agency. His job is to get problematic teachers out of the classroom and keep students safe. And this new program aims to speed up that process. Now, Project Safe Schools brings together federal.
Hello, I'm Carmen Blackwell, and you're watching the CBS News Texas stream. We just found out minutes ago that a judge has granted recusal in the Carmelo Anthony appeal. And our J.D. Miles is outside the Collin County Courthouse in McKinney with more, J.D., on this decision. So, J.D., first, it looks like there are a lot of supporters out there right here behind you right now. So tell us, what is the overall environment like outside the courthouse?
Well, Carmen, there are literally hundreds of people here, most of them in support of Carmelo Anthony. They gathered out here early this morning. Some of them were able to get inside the courtroom if they got here early enough and got a business card that was signed by a chief deputy here at the sheriff's department. Those people who got inside were able to witness this in person. Others stood out here, waited, or were in an overflow courtroom where there was a video monitor showing the proceedings. Obviously there was jubilation after this announcement of the recusal. recusal, we could actually hear people when we were inside the courtroom, outside the courtroom cheering when this judge, a visiting judge from South Texas, made this ruling today. It came after only an hour-long hearing, not much substance to it other than the defense played an 18-minute interview that Judge John Roach, the original judge over the murder trial, gave to a media outlet 2 days after the verdict in which Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf and sentenced to 35 years in prison. 2 days after that jury decision, Judge John Roach sat down with a media outlet, talked to them about the case, said some things that the defense said crossed the line, that judges are not supposed to be talking about a case within the time frame of an appeal, which would have been 30 days when the defense could have filed that motion. The Judge Roach, for that matter, said that the trial was fair. He also said the jury got it right. He made some comments about the decisions he made about cameras not being in the courtroom, restrictions on the public access. Those things were all used by the defense as an argument that the judge was impartial and fair and should not be allowed to preside over the proceedings tomorrow, in which there will be a motion for a new trial heard by a new judge. This Judge Sid Harrell, who oversaw today's hearing, heard that argument. He also heard the state give a sort of a half-hearted argument. They said they're really not a part of this, that they don't have any say in whether or not a judge gets removed or not. And so they really felt like they were held harmless in this whole hearing and didn't offer much other than saying they thought Judge Roach was fair and impartial and that the trial was fair. But when the judge made the ruling, he said, quote, "In my opinion, there was a period when a motion for a new trial could have been filed. That was within the 28 days. And I believe Judge Roach believes he can be fair in this matter. I believe he can be fair in this matter, but that's not the test. The test is outside looking in, third-party, detached, neutral. Would they have a concern about the judge's impartiality based upon those statements? Under that limited finding, I'm going to grant the recusal that a third party looking in would have that issue. That is it. That's all I'll sign. I want to prepare for that and get it to me, and I will sign it." So the judge really just based his decision, it looks like, on that one limited view that all things being equal, you look at this judge from the outside as an outside spectator, and you might get the impression he's impartial just based on the fact that he gave these interviews and that he said the jury got it right, among other things. Now, I spoke to local legal experts about this. I spoke to a longtime Collin County defense attorney, Todd Shapiro, just now. He was surprised by this. He frankly predicted that the judge would allow John Roach to continue along this path and oversee tomorrow's new trial motion. But you know, he says that this should not affect at all the hearing tomorrow over a new trial. He says that will impact other facets of this case. The defense will have to present a whole different argument. And this judge that has been recused, Judge John Roach, gave this interview 2 days after the trial. So the decision today was not based on anything that happened during the trial. It was based on what happened 2 days after the trial. So the defense will have another high bar to meet if they want to win this motion for a new trial tomorrow and go 2 for 2.
So, JD, I mean, this was obviously a huge win for Carmelo Anthony, for Anthony's family, for the community, and a lot of folks who supported Carmelo Anthony in this case. So where does this move the trial for tomorrow? What does that look like?
Okay, well, Carmen, there's a administrative judge who handles across the region the placement of judges when they're brought in, either visiting or they're assigned because of recusals or because judges are out of town or whatnot. That judge is Ray Wheelis. He's a longtime Collin County judge here. He's retired from that role, but now he operates this administrative position, and so he will decide today at some point who that judge will be, and he will have that judge, I'm told, ready to oversee tomorrow's proceedings at the moment that they've scheduled it for, which is 9 a.m. tomorrow. So we will get a new judge who will hear that motion for a new trial tomorrow. We don't know who it is yet, but I'm told everything's still a go for tomorrow.
Okay, JD, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate it. We know that you will, of course, be continuing to cover this hearing, too. We appreciate it. So our Steve Pickett is also near the courthouse as well in McKinney with reactions from a lot of Carmelo Anthony supporters here this morning. So we want to speak in with Steve Pickett here, who is live outside the courthouse this morning. Steve, who do you have here with you, and what are a lot of folks saying right now? What's the mood outside the courthouse?
It was exuberance, if you will, from the dozens, as JD mentioned, who came out of that courthouse in response to that ruling from this judge. But the man at the table, Lee Merritt, one of the attorneys for this, in this particular case for this young man, you were there. Talk to me about why this was so important. Watching the emotion from people regarding this issue, Mr. Merritt.
A lot of the family member, I have to start with Carmelo Anthony's family. They were here a few months ago. They sat in the same courtroom and they listened to a sentence that was extreme and they felt hopeless. And to have the judge less than 48 hours go on TV and say, hey, everything went well, that you know, there was nothing to correct about this trial seemed pretty permanent. So today, having that judge recused, hearing the evidence about what the law requires about judicial behavior and how he violated, that was very, very important.
Symbolically, if you will, I know what the law stipulates, but how important was this in the galvanizing of people paying more attention to this argument on behalf of Carmelo Anthony about a new trial?
Well, for a lot of people, they just thought, well, of course, everyone's entitled to try, but there's no real bones there. What the court concluded today was that, no, there was some things that went wrong during that trial, starting with the judge's comments and the judge's posture to finish this. The trial is not complete until Carmelo's appellate options are exhausted, until he has the right to at least ask for a new trial. And that has to be heard by a fair arbiter of the law. That is not Judge Roach. We're looking forward to hearing who Collin County assigns in the case.
Will that process take place today? Because we know this hearing is scheduled for tomorrow. So educate the folks on what's the next step on this day.
Yeah, there's been a lot of waiting. And so today was, we wanted to see if we could get a new trial. A new judge, the judge has made the decision today. We handed him the order. He's signing it now. It'll go into the Collin County process for randomly selecting a new judge in the case. And so that's today. Tomorrow we get into that new judge hearing our motion for a new trial.
Let me ask you finally, for your client, for Mr. Anthony, how did he feel? What was his passion on this issue of recusal?
Carmelo was extremely relieved. He came into the courtroom today very timid, very exhausted, really. You can see that he had lost weight, he had hardened a bit, he had aged a bit in his time in jail. But to hear the community behind him and then to hear an official proclamation from a judge that says, you know, what your family, what your community is seeking, they're going to be granted today, was a huge relief.
Lee Merritt, we thank you for your time. We know you go back in there and figure out the rest of this process today and tomorrow. We thank you.
Yes,
and again, one indication not only from the legal team from Carmelo Anthony, but again, the many, many people who came here early this morning in this heat on this concrete to showcase their support for this call for this judge's recusal. That has now happened. The next chapter begins as it stands right now. Carmen?
Steve, thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you reporting out there live outside of the Collin County Courthouse in McKinney. And of course, we will continue to have reporters both inside and outside of the courtroom and bring you the latest over the next 2 days. Cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom, but we will bring you updates throughout the day live on CBSNewsTexas.com, Pluto TV, and Paramount Plus. I'm Carmen Blackwell, and you're watching the CBS News Texas stream.